वासुदेवेन्द्र योगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते.
Very good. Just a little extra emphasis on the yogindram, the badi e ki matra. So just elongate a little bit. So it is Vasudevendra Yogindram.
वासुदेवेन्द्र योगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते. मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते.
Very good. The next one. Good.
नित्यं शुद्धं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनं नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दं गुरुं ब्रह्म नमाम्यहम्.
Very good. Once more. And make it a little more Nityam Shuddhan Nirabhasam.
नित्यं शुद्धं निराभासं निराकारं निरञ्जनं नित्यबोधं चिदानन्दं गुरुं ब्रह्म नमाम्यहम्.
Very good. Very good. Then we'll make a few more changes. But, can you do this?
I can try. I can always try.
Yeah.
साधन चतुष्टय संपन्न अधिकारिणा मोक्ष साधन भूतं तत्व विवेक प्रकारं वक्ष्यामः.
Once more, the whole line.
साधन चतुष्टय संपन्न अधिकारिणा मोक्ष साधन भूतं तत्व विवेक प्रकारं वक्ष्यामः.
Just one more, a change. Moksha sadhana bhutam. The u ki matra is long.
मोक्ष साधन भूतं. Let's see the whole
Do this once more.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
साधन चतुष्टय संपन्न अधिकारिणा मोक्ष साधन भूतं तत्व विवेक प्रकारं वक्ष्यामः.
Continue.
साधन चतुष्टय किम्?
Sadhana chatushtayam kim.
साधन चतुष्टयं किम्?
Once more.
साधन चतुष्टयं किम्?
Continue.
नित्य नित्य वस्तु विवेकः इहामुत्रार्थ फल भोग विरागः शमादि षट्क संपत्तिः मुमुक्षुत्व चेति.
First, nitya nitya vastu.
नित्य नित्य वस्तु. I have to say the A. I realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that again.
नित्या नित्य वस्तु विवेकः.
Do this mumukshu.
मुमुक्षुत्वं चेति.
Once more.
The whole thing or the first?
Yeah, whole thing. Okay.
Okay. नित्या अनित्यवस्तु विवेकः इहामुत्रार्थफलभोगविरागः शमादिषट्क सम्पत्तिः मुमुक्षुत्व मुमुक्षुत्वं मुमुक्षुत्वं चेति.
When you are chanting this, we are not doing the a sound in nitya. When we are chanting it, we are chanting it as aki matra. When we are understanding it or when we want to explain it, then we do nitya anitya. We break the sandhi.
It goes
Do
with
that
the.
once again. Do the whole all 4 lines again.
But when I chant, it has to be nitya anitya, right?
Nitya nitya. Nitya aki matra.
Okay. नित्यानित्यवस्तु विवेकः इहामुत्रार्थफलभोगविरागः शमादिषट्क सम्पत्तिः मुमुक्षुत्वं चेति.
Continue.
नित्यानित्यवस्तु विवेकः कः
Continue.
नित्यवस्तु विवेकः. Okay, now this one is complicated. Nitya.
I'll do.
Yes, please. You can do it and I'll follow.
Yeah, this line because we haven't practiced enough, that's why. Nityavastvekam brahma.
Nityavastvekam Brahma.
Nityavastvekam brahma.
Is it Brahma? Is it Brahma? Like the A in the end or no A in the end?
No A in the end.
Okay, so Nityavastvekam Brahma.
Correct. Tadvyatiriktam sarvamanityam.
Tadvyatiriktam sarvamanityam.
Ayameva nityavastu vivekaha.
Ayamev nityavastu vivekaha.
Do the line together.
Nityavastvekam Brahma. Tadvyatiriktam sarvam nityam. Ayameva nityavastu vivekaha.
Sarvamanityam.
Sarvamanityam.
Do the line once more.
Nityavastvekam Brahma Tadvyatiriktam Sarvam Nityam Ayameva Nityavastu Vivekaha.
Sarvamanityam. The ma is full ma.
Yeah, I have to say.
Yeah.
Sarvam Nityam. Sarvam Nityam. It's not Anityam.
Sarvamanityam. It's not sarvam anityam. Sarvamanityam. Ma has.
Nityam.
Continue.
Okay. Iha swarga bhageshu.
Viragaha kaha.
I didn't read that. Viragaha kaha. Iha swarga bhageshu. Shouldn't it be bhogeshu?
It is bhogeshu.
The English version just said bhageshu. That's why I was just confused.
Oh, right. Sorry, it has a spelling mistake. Yeah, I will check this. Yeah.
Iha swarga bhogeshu ichharahityam.
Iha swarga bhogeshu ichharahityam.
Iha swarga bhogeshu ichharahityam.
So, very good. Very much. Nice. And we'll continue from here, the class. We are on the topic of Vairagyam, Viragaha. What is Vairagyam? And we saw yesterday that Vairagyam is basically a state of one's mind which is free of the obsessive tendencies, the compulsive tendencies, the preferential attachments, the specific desires and forceful fulfillment of them. When a mind has discovered its freedom from these tendencies that can get developed, that do get developed, when a person is not alert with the nature of likes and dislikes alone. When we are interacting with the world, our senses are reporting to the mind the realm of objects. And in this reporting, mind is just a reporter. It is taking in the data. There is an ego, the individual who attaches with this data and instantly forms reactions or judgments or conclusions of whether it likes what the senses is reported or it does not like. How this happens is so intricate that our rishis have discovered in the human mind in a mode in which it operates now for us as if instinctively. It is almost natural for us to say likes and dislikes to hoti hi hai. Everyone has them. So for us to say likes and dislikes is a part of our life is nothing unusual. And personality being built around likes and dislikes is not taken to be or is acceptable. A personality built around likes and dislikes is acceptable as if it's its unique individuality. But Shastra Drishti, rishis have noted down by observation what weakens the human being and a human potential, a human life. What makes it weak? What makes a human life weak means here in the context, weak enough not to be able to pursue its full potential, and Shastra Drishti, full potential is moksha. What makes a person weak to pursue it is when the mind has become powerful. Mind has become strong. How has the mind become strong? If it is just a mere reporter, then it is only supposed to be an objective reporting. It should just report to the individual what it has seen, what it has felt, what it has observed, what it has smelled, what it has tasted. It should just be objective data, how a computer probably feeds the data, takes the data. Whatever you are feeding in should just be reported as is. If the mind was just simply reporting, then it should have only been reporting it. But the thing is that mind is conjunct with the faculties. You will see them when we come to the jiva part of it in the book. But that other part of us, the ego part of us, the ahankar part of us, which is what is combining all these senses data together and trying to make them intelligent, trying to see the utility of it, trying to see the usefulness of that data, trying to figure out constantly how this data is related to oneself, what the senses are reporting. The minute you wake up, your senses are alive and the senses are in non-stop mode of reporting. It doesn't take a pause till you go to sleep. So the entire waking state, actually the senses are alert. And this you have to make a note of over here, because the next qualities are going to be at the level of sense controls. So what here we are seeing is the senses are all the time actively reporting its respective field of knowledges, objects that it relates to. It is reporting those objects constantly. Now, the individual, the ego, is all the time identifying that data and is trying to figure it out. Useful, not useful, good, pleasant, unpleasant. As a result of which, very early in life, you start forming certain preferential likes, and based on those likes, you also conclude what you don't like. This is a very natural process that is there, as if something which guides us throughout our life to what we incline ourselves to, what we gravitate towards, what we interact with, what we start acting upon. That's the right thing. What we start acting upon, the information that the senses has given, and the fact that we have already formed certain likes and dislikes about it, excuse me, those are the ones that are constantly guiding the individual, gravitating them towards what they think they want or don't want. What you want or what you don't want seems to only be guided by likes and dislikes that each one of us has formed, which are very specific. Rishis have said these hold in them a great potential of fall, of weakness in a person. How do they become weak? How does a person become weak? When the likes and dislikes grow very strong. When they gain the strength, then person becomes weak. So if the person needs to remain strong, in control of the data that the senses is bringing, to be able to maneuver his life towards what really is right and wrong and good and bad, for himself also, then he needs to always be more stronger than what his likes and dislikes have developed. We see today, the process of splitting the likes and dislikes just by lingering, mental lingering on it. Gita has said this. Bhagavad Gita reports it in second chapter of the Gita. It's reported that when the thought is lingered upon, that lingering gains strength to the thought. It gives strength to the thought. It becomes force. It becomes it gains the strength and the force, thereby up to a point the individual can control it. But if the individual hasn't learned the capacity to control the thoughts, then these can in a way start the catapult the force of fall in a person, where a person suddenly begins to feel helpless, anxious, doesn't know how to manage a certain situation, doesn't know how to manage a certain stimulus of data, because the person gets overwhelmed by the very data that is presented to the mind. So they said, Aga is that state of mind where the individual has become weaker than the like. Weak enough for it to pursue it with force, as if helplessly moved towards its pursuit. This strength that it gains, the desires gain, the likes gain, making the person helpless. That state is raga, and a state which is not of any good use to a human life. I'm very particular. From the standpoint of moksha as a goal, I'm bringing a side point now, a side note here, where today the world says you should be passionate about your work. You should be passionate about this and that, and what you want. That passion word has got a sanction today because it seems to be motivating the person. It seems to be the fuel to motivate a person to achieve what they want. Yes, to some extent you get this fuel, but what is its other side of it? When the passion becomes too much, when you're too passionate, then you start seeing that your mind has become ashant. It's not peaceful. It's not in the state of mind where it can abide in quietude. It becomes restless. It becomes fidgety. It starts feeling always a sense of missing out on something. Nowadays, you find many people just join groups because some old groups and all that. Why? I learned this recently. FOMO. There is a new fear that's arisen in the society. FOMO, fear of missing out. This fear of missing out. From where? From a social media, from some group that you hardly associate with, but you must be a part of it. Why? Because there's a fear of missing out. Now, where is the strength of the person to dwell on how to make maximal use of his life and his opportunities and his potentials to discover it, the quietude of the mind, so that he finds his anchor within himself, to constantly being felt as if there is a need to be connected, contacted with the world, remain contacted with the world. That weakness that has got set in, that raga with which it forces a person to stay always as if in chase of something. Vairagyam meant that you are free of rag. And I said yesterday, rag always includes a dislike, dvesh. Always introduces dvesh. This raga, wherever there is bound to be dvesh. What do we mean by dvesh? If I like something, I am bound to dislike its counterpart. Liking, as I said, is not an issue. It's okay if I like chocolates and I don't like Karela juice. Perfectly fine. No problem. Your mind is not going to get ruffled beyond something, because there is a choice that human being has which we integrate in life. So a certain choice that you can keep with you on likes and dislikes is fine. But when it becomes, I only like chocolates and I will only have chocolates 3 times a day, and I'm not able to control the craving for it, then my dislike for Karela juice is not a mere dislike. As much my like for chocolate has grown, so much my dislike for Karela has also proportionately increased. Notice this. As much my like for one thing has grown to become an obsession or a compulsion, so much my dislike has also grown for something which is contrary to it. So instead of chocolate, if someone is giving me a Karela juice, now I want chocolate at that time, But at that time, someone's giving me Karela juice. My reaction is not just going to be, thank you very much, I don't want it. If I just like chocolate, I can say, thank you, I don't want it, I don't like it. But if I'm obsessed of chocolate at this point, I only want chocolate. Why can't anybody understand I want, you know, just chocolate ke bina kya hai life? I just want chocolate. That time someone gives you Karela juice. Now watch how much that like has also increased your dislike for Karela juice, which otherwise was just a mere dislike. So the rag and dvesh come together. This strong hatred, strong aversion, compulsive like, compulsive, forceful fulfillment towards it, both of them are at the same level. They are not opposites. राग जहां होगा वहां द्वेष होगा ही होगा, और जहां द्वेष है वहां राग होगा ही होगा. This is something very important. You know, sometimes you have, once had this, someone mentioned it, you know, a mother who's a real, that, you know, Indian traditional mothers who are all motherly kind. I don't know what I understand out of this, but so that image mold of a mother, that all self-sacrificing mother and all, that person, and everybody in the society accepted her as a mother. Her daughter-in-law had a huge problem because the mother did not understand that motherliness could extend to her daughter-in-law. Now, there was so much love for her children. As long as they were unmarried, it is children and mother, and everything seemed fine because the mother can dote on her children, it's sanctioned. But the person got confused when there was extension of the family happening. This extension of the family brought a new range of emotion, which the mother-in-law did not identify before. She did not know. And the experience she had was, she said she was hating it, hating the fact that her children were getting married, had got married. Now, unless until you had heard these things before in life, you had known these things before in life, it is impossible for a person to conceive the idea that when there can be so much affection for one set of people, how can there be hatred for another set of people? It's not possible. Unless and until you identify वो जो राग था ना, वो राग उसका स्ट्रेंथ नहीं है इंसान का, वो राग उसकी कमजोरी है. It is not a virtue that the person is embellished with. It was actually always a vice in the person. Vice, I mean, it's just an English term, don't take it in the literal. I'm contrasting it with virtue because I don't know any other word. It just means it was a weakness. इंसान कमजोर पड़ता है जब उसकी स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ राग बढ़ती है, और उसको आइडेंटिफाई नहीं होता है कि जहां राग हो जाती है, in that mode of rag, it doesn't recognize that dvesh is actually the substratum also. And where there is dvesh, rag is the substratum also. They go together. This going together of it, we are in the context of Vairagyam. We are trying to understand what is Vairagyam. To gain clarity of what is true state of Vairagyam, we need to understand that it is not just rag that the person is neutral to. It is the very capacity to build the likes and dislikes beyond their natural reporting tendency and preventing them from becoming rag or dvesh, because the jiva understands, the individual understands that any like or any dislike I entertain at the level of the thought, if I am not careful as a person, and most of us cannot be alert all the time, And somehow some like or the dislike just proportionately increases in us, disproportionately increases in us. The person whose goal of life is higher goal or a spiritual goal in life wants to make more out of his life, वो इंसान इन चीजों से बहुत ध्यान रखता है अपने अंदर कि बाहर की चीजें राग द्वेष बनाएंगी बनाएंगी, मगर वो राग द्वेष जब तक लाइक्स एंड डिसलाइक्स अच्छा और बुरे के बीच में रहे एंड यू हैव स्ट्रेंथ ओवर इट, तब तक ठीक है. But you can be very carefully note, you can understand that these can become powerful at any point if I am not overlooking them as a person. So virag means growing above, not replacing one with the other. Rag ko hata ke, when you become neutral, doesn't mean you become free from the capacity to not form raga and dvesha. They can still form. Virag means the very process with which now you have grown above the naturalness of the mind to form raga and dvesha. Why? Because viveka buddhi is attuned in the person. With the help of viveka buddhi, you are keeping the rag and the dvesh, preventing them to form rag and dvesh. You are keeping the likes and dislikes in the category of likes and dislikes. चीजें अच्छी हैं, कुछ चीजें बुरी हैं, कोई बात नहीं, तब तक सब ठीक है जब तक I am not weak to them. That's the underlining term. If I'm feeling weak in any of the likes and dislikes, that means they've already shaped them into rag and dvesh, and they are going to become severe problems for the spiritual growth at some point of time. Forget spiritual growth. There will even be an obstacle for normal peace of mind, day-to-day peace of mind. So where are we talking of a higher goal of life? That Vairagyam, I said, the first layer of Vairagyam that we are understanding is growing above likes and dislikes. This raga, yesterday I started also by saying, comes from the word root ranj. And ranj basically means color. Now today we are going to understand how that like and dislike becomes the raga. And the clue in this is the coloring aspect, colored view. हम बहुत लोगों को कहते हैं इस आंखों पे तुमने क्या, what is that कहा मुहावरा, you have आंखों पे क्या तुमने पर्दा डाला है, or sometimes we say such a colored vision the person has. That colored means biased vision. So these are words that you understand are already there. People function with it. Now, Shastra shows us, scripture shows us, how does the coloring form? Now, to understand this simply, here, formation of raga. How is a rag formed? From a simple reporting of the senses, you realize that a person who is always in want of something, searching something, I said in the class in the beginning, as individuals, you're trying to make sense of the data that the senses are providing. Mujhe kya chahiye, mujhe kya nahi, it is inherently keeps on going. What happens is, with perceptions, we start superimposing some added value to it, to a simple perception. When you add greater value than what it holds, what that object of being holds, it starts to become rag or dvesh. For example, simple thing, money has its value in itself. Shastra Drishti, in our Puranic language, it is Lakshmi. It is a goddess. Wealth is a goddess. What does it mean by saying wealth is a goddess? Goddess means it has far greater power than what is apparently seen, which means money has some power more than what your body has, more than what you can do actually. How much can you do with your physical hands and feet? If you were just to survive on physical, nowadays there are a whole lot of people which are returning back, trying to return back to roots because off-grid living has really taken off in the Western world, of course. Um, uh, there's an off people trying to get back to off-grid living, meaning they want to get away from all machinery and what makes you pursue money more than what you need, puts you in a cycle where you are just killing yourself to earn money to sustain a lifestyle. So they are going off grid, which means they are reducing the value for excess value that we have as society placed on the power that money has. Money has some purchasing power, correct value. If I understand this much, it is a great value. I will always respect it. I will always value it. I will value money because it has its power, purchase power. But when I impose upon money, that money, I start looking it as a source of joy, happiness. ज़्यादा पैसा मतलब ज़्यादा खुशी, ज़्यादा आनंद. I'll be more happy if I have more money. A rich person must be such a free person. A rich person must be so happy. A rich person must be someone who doesn't have to do anything. A rich person has everything. A rich person, and then you start imposing another layer on that by saying money, whoever has, must be more sense of security. As security. Money is imposed with an extra value of happiness. And then there is another extra value imposed on it of security, which means if I have money, I feel secure. Now, what are these related actually? Are they really related? If I have money, I am secure. Is this an equation? Is this really so? Is it 1 plus 1 is equal to 2? Correct. Money plus me is equal to secure. Is this right? Because if it is right, then all I have to do is look around me of people who have money. Do they have simultaneous sense of security? In fact, if that viveka is alive, the first quality, this is the employment of viveka and how it will build into vairagya as I'm showing. If the viveka is there in a person, when he looks around, you will say, it's not that me plus money is equal to security. I may start with a question mark. Is it so? Because I need money. Yes. But is it so? And when I start looking around and I realize actually rich plus money, whoever is that rich person plus money seems to be an insecure person. More money they have, more insecurity they seem to be showing. More complexity of life they seem to have gone into, etc., etc. Now, what really happened if you were not thinking? Automatically the mind had built on it. Money has a purchase power, yes, up to this point, correct. But you didn't realize the association that money and happiness had got ingrained along with, that came ingrained. Money is happiness, that money is power. Money is happiness. To what extent? To the extent it gives you purchasing power. But can you purchase relations? Can you purchase happiness? You can purchase objects because objects can give you some happiness. But can you purchase happiness? And the minute that thing comes into a person, automatically the extra value, I don't know where I didn't get much time this time. You delete it. You delete that extra value. Here it is. Vairagyam is deletion, because we are so used to this word, जो भी फालतू की files है in our computer, you delete them. Messages, you delete. Delete has become as normal a word for us today as eating and sleeping has become. Deleting mails, half the time the deleting process. So what does Vairagyam really mean? It is deletion of the excess value that I have imposed on something which the senses were providing me information with. That much I didn't take, but something in me pushed me to overvalue it. What in me pushed me, you will get to know later on. Keep it as a fill in the blanks, because that later chapters will introduce why that push is there in us to superimpose all the time. This superimposition of excess value is the cause of rag, and therefore the cause of dvesh also. Now, to get back to its normalcy of the mind, हमारे हिसाब से अगर देखो तो वैराग्यम is a normal tendency of the mind also. हर किसी को छोड़ना आता है. For example, you love kheer. Not like, you love kheer. It's not an obsession yet, but between like and obsession, there is this love there. I love kheer. It's a little more than like. I love kheer. You're about to put a spoon in your mouth. It's hot and it's flavorful. Your nose, you can smell the flavor. It's flavorful and your saliva has already started secreting. And someone comes running and says, wait. There is poison in it. One drop. What happened? Suddenly to that kheer. Do you have that value to the kheer the same way? The minute the data changed, it's just a data. You've not tasted the kheer yet. You don't know anything yet. The data changed. And the minute the data changed, you gave up the excess value. After knowing that it has poison in it, is that force of love for kheer still identifiable in you? No. That means if I have my data correct in my hard disk or software, I don't know which, software should be the right one. If I have the right data, right software inside, then Vairagyam is a very natural state. I don't have to be excessively doing anything. I just have to see things in their right value. I have to place the right value to the things respectively. People have a value. Up to that value, it's correct. But when I place something on that value, I place extra thing on that value. So I want people to always be being nice to me, or I want people to always love me, or I want people always to be around me, or I want somebody to understand me, or I want Today morning only, I think I got a message from one, and they asked me, you think this is right? Very interesting. It is, of course, I don't think this is their quote, but someone has, what is it? सिर्फ एक कदम अपनी मर्जी का चलो तो तुम्हारे जो अपने हैं तुम्हें पता चल जाएगा कि वो तुम्हारे कितने अपने हैं. सिर्फ एक कदम अपनी मर्जी का चलो तो तुम्हारे जो अपने हैं You're not talking about aliens. तुम जिनको तुम अपनी जिंदगी दे चुके हो और जिनके लिए तुम अपनी जिंदगी जी रहे हो एंड तुम सोचते यार इतना तो मेरे लिए भी बनता है, यू थिंक लाइक दैट, तुम्हें पता चल जाएगा कि वो तुम्हारे कितने अपने हैं. Very interesting. I thought this was very timely that this message came. Why? Because, and they asked me, what do you think about it? And I said, but this is very universal. What is so strange about it? Because if you feel like that, the other is also feeling the same for you. They also have the same feeling that I am always doing for you and you don't do. It's so universal. Why? Because we are imposing that value. You see the point? The point is, हमें क्यों लगता है कि जो हमारे अपने हैं, they should give us a little more than what they're giving. That expectation, जिसको हम कहते हैं बड़ी natural है life में, etc. etc. If you start seeing things as they are, if this is my need, it is another person's need also, matter closes. There is nothing about it. What is this so big deal about it? कितने तुम्हारे अपने हैं? किसने कहा कि कोई तुम्हारा अपना है in the first place? When you come to Vedanta and the Vivek Buddhi starts operating in you, this is where Vairagya comes. In the first place, who said कि तुम्हारा कोई अपना है? Then तो you start everything else, no? कौन तुम्हारा अपना है? As you come into Advaita more and you realize एक तुम ही तो हो, बस तुम ही तो हो, मतलब in the sense of not even तुम, तुम्हारा शरीर तुम्हारा अपना नहीं है. Your body is not yours. What are you talking about people around you? This body is not in your control. It doesn't belong to you. You are only a resident here, temporary, for which you have no rents to pay. You just have a lease. You know, that lease is what we call technically prarabdha. Later on, you'll get to know if you don't already know. You have a lease. Some prarabdha, you will live over here. Once the lease gets exhausted, you're out. शरीर तुम्हारा नहीं क्या तुम्हारे अपने अपने होंगे? Is this a value? And when you start getting, you know, why people keep saying all the time, life is this, life is that, people are this, people, there's so much happening everywhere. Why? Because of this excess value we are constantly superimposing, innocently, correct word is ignorantly. We are not aware of it. Ignorantly we are imposing upon it, constantly imposing upon it, and then starts this, why are they not met, why is the world like this, why, etc. 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 All that starts functioning. Now the question here is, the minute you identify the right value, कोई किसी का नहीं है. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad teaches, everybody loves themselves for their sake. A hard pill, it's actually a hard pill to digest. Everyone loves themselves for their sake. The minute this, and Upanishad keh rahi hai, Yagnavalkya is telling his wife that if you tell me you love me and this is all delusion. The truth is you love me for your sake and I love you for my sake. The completion that I see in myself, I hope that you will provide to me for my completion. Is this a right value? I hope I'm making some sense. Is this even a right value to expect someone else to complete you? In the same way for the other person. Now, the minute there is this understanding of the right value to things, where is name, where is fame, where is power, where is position, where is following, where is age, where is beauty, where is intelligence, where is status, where is there anything more than what it is worth, and that worth is really just worth for that moment. आज है बस आज का worth है, उसका कल का तो we don't know. None of these are worthy tomorrow or not, we don't know. Today we know our health is worthy, tomorrow we don't know. Which health are we talking about? What is worthy today? That excess value, placing it on something and then expecting that something to rise to that value. See the complication that we make. Money I have a value for because of its purchase power. It can give me comforts, and comforts give me happiness. Correct. But money can give me relations, and those relations should give me happiness, and money should buy me happiness. Because I have money, I can buy happiness. And when I realize all this is excess imposition, that is the use of viveka. That vivek buddhi se automatically, as I said here, tyag is natural. Just as poison, when I know is there in a kheer, त्याग अपने आप हो गया खीर का. I give up the kheer, what I love the most. So even the most greatest of obsessions actually can only be controlled through correct thinking. There is no other way. There is none. No medicines can work. No antidepressants can work. Nothing can work on the person except reversing, correcting your thinking. That correction of thinking is what is needed all the time to filter away where we naturally impose higher values to, unnecessary extra value to. Here, there are two kinds of impositions I want to bring here. The first imposition we've already covered. How is this excess value happening? Imposition that I'm talking about. The first imposition is an object imposition. What we did in the previous Viveka, when we mistake a rope for a snake. This object, rope, has been imposed upon by another object, independent, called snake. And it gave me all kinds of reactions. It gave me all kinds of unsettlement. It did whatever it does to me. The other imposition that Vairagya talks about is value imposition, which we have just finished. What is a value imposition? Value imposition is on the same object. You are imposing a higher value than that object is valuable for. I'm repeating the sentence. A value imposition is that when you are imposing a higher value, greater value to the same object, that greater value than what it is valuable for. Like here in this example, this is a beautiful picture which just shows when the person starts feeling money is power. Now, very interesting things. Money, that greedy person, when he starts thinking money is everything in life is money. That person who believes money is everything. Now, he is not replacing money with some other object. And this is a very, very subtle imposition. Constantly in our life we make. We are imposing on money something more than what it is valuable for, which is not inherent in it. Happiness is not inherent ingredient of money. Money has only the power to buy. It has no other power, but it is very powerful. It is worshipful. Shakti hai wo ek. Just as knowledge, Shakti hai ek. So we worship it like a goddess. Because they're all in feminine, therefore goddesses. So there should be no gender problems. It's a Shakti. The Shakti is, Artha is a Shakti. And Vedas accept its pursuit. There's no problem in pursuing artha. The problem is the excess value imposition. So if you're pursuing artha and pursue it in a legitimate way, proper way, money will not be your bondage. Money will not weaken you. Money will not even destroy you. And we have seen this example in society every time somebody becomes rich. Soon enough, there is destruction. Because richness doesn't imply protection, wisdom. There is a whole lot of other things money makes you powerful for. What? It makes you powerful to do good work in society. Money has power to, karmas is based on money. Good karmas, Vedic karmas also, which we will talk of now in a few minutes, next class maybe. Real Vairagyam also has another meaning. Here in this context, I am just taking it out of the karma realm first, but money has a power to make you do lot of punya karma. But what is money getting associated with for people? Money can make you make so many lives better. Now that is a power of money. But without viveka, without the right placement of money, what have you done to it if you're imposing a value more than what it is necessary? From that you need Vairagyam. So Vairagya means deletion. If you delete this, money, power and associated greed for it, if you remove that excess and remain with the worth that money has, you don't need Vairagyam from it. Because it is not a source of your weakness anymore. It becomes a source of your strength. Money is strength. But it becomes the source of destruction if you're not alert, if you're not watchful. So the Shastra says, for anyone who wants to pursue the higher values of life, you have to be alert and you have to be conscious to follow them. And to consciously follow them means you have to see where all mind, it's like a magnet. Mind is like a magnet. चिपक ही जाता है जिस चीज के साथ, जो रिपोर्ट उसको देता है ना उसके साथ चिपक जाता है. तो आंखों ने उसको कुछ दिखाया, चिपक गया उसके साथ और वो चिपक जाता है. So that means it is actually what is happening is the information is being processed. For the individual to understand, this is a very beautiful survival mechanism in every animal, and so too in a human body, that all that your senses are providing, you have to figure out what is necessary, what is not necessary, what is good, what is bad, and all this is actually just coming from instinctual behavior to preserve the body, to preserve life in the body. So it's worthwhile. But magnet hai na, and human being, because it's more complex, the gathering of data is so much कि वो चिपक जाता है and it doesn't take pause. It doesn't sort out the information that's gone into the mind. And so it goes on, किसी ने कुछ कह दिया, किसी ने कुछ कह दिया, धीरे 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 you, as you grow older, you just stop thinking. Most of the people, the sign of your old age is when you stop thinking. People say, you are old as much as you think you are or you believe you are, and etc. etc. Actually, you grow old the minute you stop thinking. There's rigidity here. That is fixed. Jakad gaya andar. That excess value placement, here he says, is you finally learn or you start to reduce that excess value till the time that you've deleted it and you're free of imposing it. So Vairagya becomes an important necessity the capacity to drop things that your mind can project as excess value. And why does it project as excess value? This one extra word you can learn today, because I may repeat it very often. This capacity, the imposition of excess value, this is called Shobhana Adhyasa. Adhyasa word actually means superimposition. This superimposition happens, this processing of superimposition of higher value is called Shobhana Adhyasa. Why Shobhana? We all know the meaning of Shobhana. Shobhana means जो शोभन करता है, means जो हमें बहुत pleasing लगता है, जो बहुत fanciful है, which gives you a lot of delight. Now, most of the fanciful, delightful impositions are actually unnecessarily imposing some extra value to what it doesn't have. That delightful imposition is actually what you need Vairagyam from. Seeing things as they are. Shobhana Adhyasa means when you see it as more than what it is worth. When you give it a higher value, place it higher than what it actually is, that's called Shobhana. Means all this Shobhana comes from, you will realize later on, Jivatvam, ignorance, self-ignorance, all those words will come. From there automatically comes Shobhana. So you are already there with it. You didn't build it yourself, but it is there with you. You have to manage it. That management of it is what Shastra says. With the help of Viveka, Vairagyam is easy. This topic is not yet concluded. There are a few more factors to it. Next week, we are going to continue with this topic. With help of Viveka, Vairagyam is easy. If Viveka is not supporting Vairagyam, Vairagyam is impossible. Even if it looks to have been done, it is not a permanent change. It is not something you've grown above raga and dvesh, as I just mentioned. Temporary respite, yes, but soon the mind will return back to its own previous habits and previous ways of imposing. अब इंसान बदल लेते हैं, हम चीजें बदल लेते हैं, लेकिन वो टेंडेंसी नहीं बदलती. So if you've given up one person, you will put it on another person, but you will not realize the flaw in your approach to seeking fullness. You think that approach is valid. The object had a problem. I hope it's making some sense. But we'll leave it over here for now. And enough, I think, for us to dwell upon for now. And next week, I will also be introducing Vairagyam in the context of Shastra's Drishti for Moksha itself. Here I have taken Vairagyam as a value. But Vairagyam actually, as the definition has said, we'll take up the definitions that we've been chanting for 2 days now. We'll take up the meaning of those definitions next. This I'll conclude the class today. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Tisha Tisha